Durable dads, brothers from other mothers, and sisters from different misters. Welcome back to another Durable Dads live stream. I'm Mike, and tonight we pivot, but this time we're kind of doing it with dirt under our nails. So we've been deep in the mindset, okay, the mental prep. I've been talking a lot of like core concepts about how to face a pivot in your life. But tonight we're gonna do something a little bit different. Spring went and showed itself up and said, "Cool pans, bro. Let's see what you got." So tonight we're gonna take a deep look at how that pivot actually turns into real life moves. Okay, road trips, cleanups, gear, and full on dad in motion energy. This is kind of where Durable Dads is headed and has been for a while. And one of the last vestiges I've kind of kept from the whole personal growth aspect and advice and dad advice aspect that I originally built Durable Dads on is still intact, and it happens to live here. But this is a chance for me to kind of blend the two. Lately, I've been moving towards gear reviews and really just kind of taking a much more outdoor, feel to this whole thing. Just really like leaning into the things that dads like to do. And you know what? Consequently, these are things that I like to do and I like to do with my kid. So this is a natural fit. And all of these things that I talk about in terms of, I got to make sure my hat's straight. All right, people, how's this looking? I'm seeing myself in the camera. I'm loving that, looking straight on. Okay, so this has been a mix. So every time that I try to give a little piece of advice, lived advice, and it comes from a very cerebral kind of place, right? But the gut at the same time. So all of this is from my past lived experience, and I try to do something that gives, or at least try to, impart something that has some real life usefulness to it. So I guess, you know what, I'm living out. This is where the rubber meets the road, and I love that term. But this is really the rubber meets the road, where the master pivot plan, or how you can pivot in your life, and all of these things, all this advice that I'm giving, however heartfelt, doesn't really have a place unless you can practically apply it. And for me, my way of practically applying all the things that I've learned and my journey thus far is to turn it into something that's a bit of a passion and my way of giving back. And that's Durable Dads and my other channel and my other ventures, right? We'll be kind of diving into that a little bit later. So not in this stream, but I will be announcing what I'm up to in the next few streams. But this is my practical way of taking all this knowledge that, pardon me, I've actually gleaned and need to live up to as well, because all these concepts are good stuff, but they apply to me as well, and find a way to practically put them together. And that is Durable Dads. That's finding cool places and cool things to do locally, supporting my community, being rooted in my community, but also checking out other communities, finding cool things for you dads to do with your kids, or moms too, for you guys to do as a family, and the gears that you might need to do it. Okay. So last stream was about intentional chaos, right? I mean, order in the madness. So, and this is really setting a foundation here. And, this is a live pivot. You're living it. I'm living it, right? Stuff's happening. Life is moving for me, and really fast lately. I cannot tell a lie. So when DD is making a shift, I'm making a shift from a more mental perspective, the thinking and the plotting and the planning, into more do mode, right? Which is a natural progression anyway. So, hey, Tony, good to see you here, man. Got your check in. Hope you can stick around for a bit. You twisted? Yeah, we're going. Pardon me, guys, if my voice is given away. I'm a little bit husky tonight. I'm chewing on a cough drop here, but we will power through. Don't worry, I'm fine. All right, it's a little dry. It is spring. So, okay, so as I was saying, we're kind of entering, I am, and Durable Dads is, and you viewers, because I think of you as part of this project, right? We're moving into a do phase. So it's less theory, more mud, and more moments coming up, right? So I just kind of want to take this opportunity to sprinkle in that a mental pivot doesn't mean anything unless it can literally survive spring and summer break with your kids. Okay, you can be as prepped as you want to be, and you can think that you're the champ and you have all these great ideas up and coping mechanisms up in your head until the chaos erupts and you hear that first, I'm bored. And then, this is where shit starts to unravel, and you need to do something, and you need to make a plan. And you need to make it something that'll keep them off your back and keep them satisfied. So that's what this is all about. Now, granted, Durable Dads likes to pick on things that dads like to do. I'm going to get into our little itinerary, but you know what I mean? There's car shows and tat shows and all kinds of different things like that. So, hi, CDH1, my adventure. Just in to say hello. I appreciate the hello. There's a big old hello back from you, from me. Okay. Yeah, where was I? The mental pivot and just fitting those things that you can do, especially if you have little ones at home. Teenagers are also hard in their own different way because everything friggin' sucks, right? And it's lame. So they don't necessarily have that sense of adventure unless you find something that they like and make them feel like a kid again, and they're all over it. But it just poses a different challenge. Whereas, toddlers or younger people are like, hey, Matt, how you doing? Pikachu to you too. Unless you can find something that entertains them. And like I was saying, yes, this is stuff that I think as dads that we would appreciate and do. So yes, the focus is on the dad's part, but also I'm trying to sprinkle in stuff that you and your kids can do. Some day outings, some local trips. There's always cool things that I think we all tend to forget, especially in the interior here. There's always the Starlight Drive-In, and that's a couple of hours away. I'm going to try and highlight stuff that's a couple of hours away at max, so it's within striking distance, so it doesn't cost you $1 billion in gas. And, if you're out all day, that's going to cost you snacks. I know that those outings add up. So, you know what, I'm going to try to sprinkle in stuff that's costs a little. You might want some gear for it, but you know what? Hey, it's something that's always there, and you can be like, okay, we're bored. Let's pick up and go. Okay. So hence that this bad boy is called Spring Shift from Pivot to Pack Up. Okay. We're pivoting from the whole cerebral mindset coping mechanism advice part of things to a more pack up your gear and let's find some practical things to do. Okay, we've done a little bit of a pivot recap. It's time to actually talk the spring shift. So thanks, Kirst Wolf. Sorry. Yeah, this shirt is awesome. I appreciate it. I don't know if you know the shop, but it's in Kimberley, BC, in the Coots. Spectacular place, spectacular kind of attitude and style. I appreciate it. So loving the chance to get back to the Kootenays this summer, if entirely possible. Okay, so let's talk about where Durable Dads is going to go this spring, now that I've given you the whole spiel as to where we're pivoting away from, the more personal growth coping skills to boots on the ground. Okay, the first thing, I've done a couple of reviews There's another one in the pipe that you'll probably see next week. I'm reviewing some gear, some outdoor gear, um, just to kind of lube everybody up for the coming camping season. I'm excited about it. I've got some gear. I've been working with Jeremy and Fireworks, and then he's been giving me some gear to test, and it's awesome. So really, I'm just kind of having a camping focus. But one of the big kickoffs that I'm going to have is another Durable Dad here in town, Dan Gross from A Gross Plumbing and Underground. He hosts every year a Brocklehurst here in Kamloops, a community cleanup. And him and Joe Lightning from Lightning Rubbish Removal, he donates the bins and hauls them off. And it's a really great community event. These two guys, I know them personally. I'm excited to cover this event. I'm pretty stoked that I get to be behind the camera and do the editing and do the talking rather than picking up garbage myself. Although, and not to look like too much of a hypocrite, I might go pick up some of that myself. But that happens on the 26th. That's when it's happening. So anybody here in town that's interested in having on April 26th at 11 at K Bingham is where it kicks off. So if anybody wants to join, more than happy to see you there. Look for the blue hat. I'll be there pitching in one way or the other. So, and if not, that footage won't hit you until like about a week after. It's going to take me a little time to edit, hopefully get some interviews from the community organizers. That would be great. So that's up. Okay, so we got the gear review, my next one that I'm going to be doing here pretty quick. This one's got fire and it's got some caffeine, and they both make you feel like wilderness wizards. So that's what, pardon me, my voice, I tell you guys, I appreciate that you guys are bearing with me on this one. Okay, so that one's coming up, and that'll be next week. I'm going to put my editing hat on here over the weekend and into next week and get that one out to you. So, yes, coffee. How can you go wrong in the wild? The wilderness gear, and coffee. All right. This one didn't get into my notes, but it keeps coming up on my feed, so I can't forget about it. Vernon, the city of Vernon, is hosting a Comic-Con on May 3rd, and I'm going to do my best to try and be out there to cover that. If you can't tell, I'm a comic nerd from way back, so a Comic-Con is going to be awesome. Apparently, there's lots of different vendors, lots of different stuff, maybe even some cosplay people heading there. So I'll have to look up what day the 3rd is, but that one is worth doing some coverage. So events, you know what? You're going to get a little bit of a buffet. Again, this is kind of like more oriented towards the dad end of things. These are stuff that you can take your kids to. We got a Metal Fest in Armstrong coming up. I think that's in July 20th. They got some pretty cool bands on the lineup. I don't have that queued up in front of me, but it should be a good time. I'm a metal guy. I could appreciate that. So that would be a good time. So I'm definitely going to start keying into the dad-kid road trip energy, right? There's lots of little things within a couple of hours that can be hit. That's a lot of fun. If you want to just take your kids someplace and do something fun and get them out in nature, don't forget Wells Gray. Wells Gray's Helmkin Falls is amazing. A great spot, very tourist friendly. Is it Blue River? No, Clearwater's right there. So there's good food to be had. If you want to venture a little bit farther north, there's they've got the what's it called, the High Five Diner, which has some incredible food. I like food, so I'm always going to be trying to do a road trip that involves food someplace. I'd like to go check out the Sugar Shack again. That's in 108 Mile, I think. Very authentic Quebecois poutine and other such delicacies. So it's going to be pretty cool. What was there out there? Actually, you know what? I was really interested in getting your reaction. There seems to be a pretty good crew in here tonight. So May 3rd is a Saturday. Thanks, Twisted. Okay, so that's totally doable to hit the Comic Con. So, but the road trip energy is important. You got to keep your kids occupied. And you know what? Between fishing and what have you, I mean, you can't keep them occupied all the time. And if the possibility of a big, momentous 1 week or 2 week long vacation, like out of town extravaganza, isn't necessarily in the cards, and it may not be this year. However, you can get inventive with your kids by finding cool little weekend spots or overnights or something like that. What's also came up on my radar is I talked to a lodge owner here that has a lodge out at Bonaparte Lake, a hunting and fishing lodge, and he's invited me to come check it out. I couldn't stop myself from saying, yes, yes, please, sir. So, a good chance to, check out a lodge, get some peaceful times, dip my rod a little bit. I can't say no, take my kid, do a review. Yes, please. Okay, so leading into this, since we're on this is actually like a crowdsource phase. And since you guys